Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review, episode number 100. Yep. And if you're really curious, though, I had reached 100 for the main series for One Piece. I think it was... I'm trying to think. It may have been 2018, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was 2018. Or 2018 or 2019 when I reached it. It was a few years ago. Now, before I talk about the episodes themselves, I was planning stopping with episode 964. That was my original plan to go back to Ultraman. But because basically I love the flashback stuff for this thing, and I don't want to, because here's the thing, they just released just today, on Crunchyroll, they just released the next 12 episodes. So, if I left it at this point, there will be 36 episodes left, and I don't know when I'll be back to this one. So, basically, here's what I'm going to do. I have decided that I am going to go through the next 12 episodes as well. But as soon as the flashback stuff is completed, then I'll head back to Ultraman. Ultraman itself will not take very long to get through. No, it won't. It'll be really, really quick. But that's simply the answer for that one. I'll be staying with this for a little while longer, just for 12 episodes. I don't think it'll take me too long. I'm hoping that hopefully when these next 12 episodes are done, I can basically push pause this for a while and then come back to this. Probably while I'm working on basically when I get halfway through 5-Man. Presumably, yes. So, with this particular episode, we're discussing episodes 959 to 964. Yes, it is literally 12 episodes. Yep. Now, in case you're really curious, though, technically in the way, 959 is, well, the start of Act 3. Yep. And I have to look it up and see exactly. Let me take a look here exactly when. So, this goes on. The third act is simply put, basically, how should I put this? It is put the final act of this particular thing. And this goes on for the rest of the entire arc itself. Now, I believe there's going to be a couple anime original arcs in here. Let's see. I've recovered one so far. Next one will be probably not for a while. There is the Uda Past arc, which basically is a filler arc, which that won't be released for quite a while, probably not for a couple months. But if you're really, really curious, though, about basically when Act 3 concludes, not for a frickin' while. You see, this thing starts with this episode here. And this is the act currently going on right now in the anime, Act 3. Yep. So, as of with these particular episodes, they go through chapter 958, and with 964, they go straight to basically 964 and partially adapt 965. And there's a lot of new characters making debut these episodes. You have Iro, one of the Raja Pirates. There is Taru. And some of these ones do not have a credit for an English sub actor just yet, per se. Yeah, we have Taru. Another member of the Raja Pirates. Bill Marine, who is a Raja Pirate. CB Gallant. And a lot of these characters do not have any speaking roles at all. Nope. I think it's quite cool we got a chance to see the Raja Pirates, because the only members who were confirmed members of the Raja Pirates, besides Raja himself, is Silver Rayleigh, the doctor who was shown back in the Laboon arc, and it was mentioned in Zao that Cat Viper and Dogstorm traveled on the ship. Aside from that, we knew nothing about the crew itself. There's also Bankaru, There is Petamaro, Spencer, who looks like a girl, but it's a guy. Oh, and he is voiced by Kristen Eros. Who is Kristen Eros, might ask? Is that a guy? Is that a girl? It's a guy. Yep. There is also Rowling. A lot of these pirates is completely unknown exactly what happened to them. There is Nankiko. He is voiced by Van Barrett Jr. Van Barrett Jr. Mallet Pine, who is, well, awesome on the Rider Pirates, because he got a lot of Rider Pirates main debut in these episodes. There is Koima, a beast who does not have a credit for a dub actor because he doesn't speak, except for some grunts. Well, actually, he has a credit for a dub actor. Meg McCallum. Yep. We also see the debut of his parents, the Mountain God. Yep, the Mountain God. Who was voiced by Kenny James. Like, yeah, that's kind of weird. There is Kazuku, a guy who died. Mm-hmm. Banzaro. Yeah, basically these episodes are basically his debut. He is voiced by Aaron Roberts. He is retainer of the Koski family. He works for the Shogun himself. And of course also, well, I'm not going to get to the Shogun himself because basically, we kind of get basically the Shogun appearing in flashback. Kusi, Sako, of course, Mountain God, obviously, and also there's one other character. Well, she doesn't show up in 965, actually. Yeah. So, aside from the fact we start off with the start of the act itself, it's a little bit in present day, and then we go straight to flashback. We'll start with the flash forward. This basically we follow up at the end of the arc, and then we have present day. Everybody's preparing for the actual war, the actual raid itself. But the chips are gone, and then Kinemon basically desperately tries to get a rowboat ready to go to get to this island because basically Shogun's already left. Basically, go to the island for the fire festival, and of course Luffy, of course, is dressed in armor. And then and then that's it for present day. Yeah. And aside from that, we have a joke basically where we have Zoro once again slice a piece of. Yeah, he is showing he used ammo the first time. He sliced a piece of cliff, and he does it again. He does it twice in these episodes. And Luffy is only seen in one episode of these episodes, just one. Just 959, and that's it. And then we jump back in time, 41 years prior to the events of the series. You could say this is probably, I'd say almost before Neptune. Well, Neptune himself does show up in the flashbacks. Don't worry, he will be here. So, basically, we first see Odin. We see him. He's like the first person we see, and he tried to go out to sea, but he's failing. And he runs out, tries to swim, fails. Then, of course, basically, we do see Kinemon, or apparently he used to be a blonde. Yes. And we also see Dunjiro, basically one of the people who work for Odin. Yeah, he's basically got long hair and he's wearing glasses. And who he is in present day, I'm not going to say who he is because it's a spoiler. We'll get to him later. So, these two are close friends, and Okiku is basically just, a childhood friend. And of course, it is shown in present day because they mentioned that the town of Leftovers was burned by Hodum. Yeah, this one becomes basically Kinemon's wife. That will spoil because she's present in flashbacks. Yeah, and she's been very faithful to Kinemon over the years, despite the fact he was gone for 20 years, but he has a good reason why. By her perspective, like she's aged a little bit. He's probably like, wow, I've got a very young and handsome husband, despite the fact he's the same age as me. I'm sure that's what she's probably thinking when she eventually sees him again at the end of the arc. They do reunite, don't worry about that. So, She does punish him for trying to steal from her for gambling. So she decided to strip him down to his underwear and sword. Runs for a while, and of course we see the child of the pig of the mountain god show up. Yeah, like Sally, of course, he wants to use the basic pay out of his debts, and Dundro's there, and of course Odin basically chips in because the mountain god decides to attack the flower capital. Yes, seriously, attack the flower capital. Oh yeah, and we also see a lot of Odin's exploits over the years. The fact that he's a thug. The fact he beats people as young as he was 1 year old. Heck, he even at one point started a war with basically a bunch of other guys known as the Harem Wars. Because he started his own harem. Yes, Odin started a harem. Which makes it quite good the fact when he meets his future wife. Yeah. I thought that was quite hilarious, the Harem Wars, which is so funny. Yep. And it's like, then of course the Shogun's like, because here's the thing, the Shogun at this point in time is Odin's father, and gives a notice of disavowing, so he basically is banished from the capital. When he receives it after defeating the mountain guy, he's like, I got no problem with it. I'm going out basically on my own. So Kinemon and Dundro decide to follow him. And eventually they run into Raizo, Kanjiro, and of course, well, basically the other people become his retainers, who become the famous scabbards. Yes. Dakutu. Yes. Dakutu, Kanjiro, Raizo, Doji, who he actually has to fight and basically gain his respect. And we get slowly a build-up, basically, him building retainers. He goes to the Kogi, like, the criminal district, and he basically just battles Akaji, who has been credited in the present day as the strongest man of one, despite because he's a chubby guy. Yeah, he's not a sumo wrestler, but now my guess is the reason why he probably is able to move around very much. He must do a tiny bit of because with a guy his size, he must do cardio. He must do a lot of walking without passing out, because you don't see him really eating very much in the series. Mostly you just see him drinking a lot of liquor. And eventually, of course, basically, he becomes basically one of Odin's retainers. Once Odin is in the daimyo of Kiri District. And, of course, his retainers decided to steal some money against the running of district from the Hedgehog. Yes. So he's like, we found out the fact he tried to steal money from him. He's like, take it. Here, take this too. I want you guys to clean yourselves up and give him some proper education and present him a proper samurai. And they do. Odin is basically weirded out by this. And of course, basically, then, like, okay, then of course he's requested to go to the capital to see the Shogun. And then we see, like, everyone's like, oh no, it's like, here come Odin and his thugs. And then they're shocked about the fact that they see Odin's retainers acting like proper retainers, wearing good clothing, they're well dressed, they're basically well dressed, well groomed. Like, they're shocked. Like, oh my gosh, Odin is simply normal. And he has a chat with his father, and it's mentioned that this actually is the last time he sees his father, because he never sees his father after this. He doesn't even know his father apparently. Well, we'll get to that. Then he goes back home, business as usual, and then apparently Whitebeard decided to show up. Yes. Now, I did actually tweet this to Mike McFarlane, the guy who's actually the showrunner for One Piece dub. Yes. I think he's been the showrunner since the beginning. Usually I've heard of like the head of the One Piece dub, and he's the one who cast everybody. And I do mean everybody. I did tweet him this. Are we going to see return? Are you going to bring back Whitebeard's dub actor and Gold Roger's dub actor? And based on what I see in these episodes, the answer is yes. Definitely. I got a lot of likes on Twitter because it makes total sense. I mean, after all, it's Whitebeard and Gold Roger. Why would you not basically bring back the dub actors? I mean, in the case of Whitebeard, well, I can tell anyway, this is probably the first time that Bruce Elliott has probably voiced him, probably since Marineford. It was occasionally, this is probably the first time for Gold Roger, aside from some flashbacks, this is probably the first time he's been around for more than like an episode or two. That's the strange thing about Gold Roger. Is that prior to this very arc, usually we see him, usually he's like in flashbacks. A lot of the time we usually see him where he's like at his execution, where he's talking to Garp. Usually small bits here and there. But never, ever basically have it where he's around for more than one episode in a flashback. And this is probably a way for this dub actor to basically stretch his legs, because it's probably been a while. I think like the last time that Gold Roger appeared in the series in a flashback was probably during Fishman Island. That was probably the last time I could think of he actually appeared in the flashback. Because of course he also could talk to the Sea Kings. Luffy has the ability too, obviously. And the fact that it was mentioned that he had gone to Skypiea, which we're going to get to that. Don't worry, we're going to see a lot of revisiting of stuff we see in present day. Yep. So, basically, Whitebeard is here. We see a very young Marco. Since this is basically 41 years in the past, so since Odin, since here's the thing, since, let's see, if we take away 2 years, this is roughly 39 years before the events of the series. So, Whitebeard was 72 when he died. So, you have basically about 40 years here. So, basically, Whitebeard is in his early 30s. I am presuming that, given the fact he's got hair, still got the white beard, which, from what I could tell, looked like he had it since at this early point. So then, of course, Odin battles him, and of course, basically, Odin takes a liking to him, and he keeps begging him constantly, let him stay on their ship. Eventually, the ship is fixed, and of course, he meets retainers, obviously, and of course, Dogbear and Catstorm are invited to come on board by Marco himself, which they still away on board. The guy who ends up staying with them, let's see, what is his name here? No, that's not it. Here we go. Kiku and her brother, Inzo. Yeah, he stays on board. He basically is like tied up and, well, so this is basically set over 40 years in the past. So 39 years per events of present day. So he must have been pretty young. So my guess is when he started traveling with Whitebeard, he must have been about 15. At the start of it. Yeah, I'd say he's probably about 15 years old. Yep. And of course, basically, then pretty much in a way, like he goes on the journey with them. He basically goes a chain, and of course he drags along too. And of course he's brought on board. And he's told if he can survive 3 days, he can stay on board the ship. And after 3 days, he basically he's about to save. And then he hears a woman scream. And then he swims ashore. And this is what I originally watched when this episode came out a few years ago. This is kind of realize, though, Oda is freaking huge. Like, the only person in this entire... if you think of all these characters, the only people who are taller than him are Whitebeard and Kaido. Isn't that quite strange? That only 2 characters in this whole show are taller than he is. He's like big and like he's a blob, like he's described like a sea monster, probably because of all the water, ocean water you drink. Eventually, he's healed up his wounds. He meets Toki for the first time, his future wife, and this is just overall really good. And eventually, he's like come on board. Toki basically wants to go back to Wano, but of course, Odin and of course, wife make the face like they're so annoyed, like we just left Wano. Can we go someplace else? They do eventually go to Wano. Don't worry about that. So then we see basically over the course of time traveling with them. Of course, we see her basically lovey-dovey with Odin. And of course, we go to various islands. Like there's a heat island. There's one volcano. There's an ice island. It's quite interesting basically with the various islands. And of course, eventually, we do see the romance of Toki and Odin. which results in them having a child. Yes, Toki and Oden have a child. Who is this child, you might ask? Momonosuke. So Momonosuke was born on Whitebeard's ship. Yep. Yeah, and of course she does basically say, and Whitebeard, and of course, just prior to this, Whitebeard had named Oden as the second division commander, which he stayed for quite a while until he met, well, and then the last episode I watched ended with basically we see a very young Shanks and Buggy with Goldie Roger. Interesting. I gotta admit, I love these flashback episodes. They are so awesome. Now, when these episodes came out, I heard a lot of praise for these episodes. Like, I know Wano, like, from the start, from the word go, we saw the first episode, we saw the first scene inside Wano. It was so breathtaking. The fact that a lot of people just fell in love with this arc right away. Like the manga, it gets a lot of good reception, though I did hear something apparently the finale of the Luffy cow fight did receive some very mixed reception. But this flashback stuff is so awesome. Gives me a chance to explore the world, the One Piece of the past, which is so amazing, which I'm so looking forward to basically discussing this. Now, that's mainly the reason why I'm sticking around for One Piece for a while. Now, my original plan was to stop here at 964 and go back to Ultraman. That was the original plan. But because I'm on the flashback episodes and I don't want to wait too long to come back to this, I'm just going to go through these episodes, and once the flashback is finished, then I will stop. Then I will stop and go straight to basically Ultraman. Yep. What did I get a chance to finish, let's say? Not sure how far I can go with it today. I'm not sure, but yeah. But I expect some comic corners. Yep. Another comic corner next. And then with next set of episodes, which I was going to be 4, not 6. Oh, by the way, the ship we see in the flashback, it's also the Moby Dick. Oh, one other thing here. We do see the debut, an early chronological appearance of one other character who actually appears in present day. Who actually appeared in present day, mind you. A guy with an octopus on his head. And you're thinking, who is that? Captain Karma, of course. Yeah, he actually joined up with Whitebeard. It is something that, like, I kind of forgot he was here. I remember the Odin stuff, but I kind of forgot this was his first chronological appearance in the series in the past. And of course, also, this guy was famous for taking part during the events of Marineford. Considered by many to be one of the greatest arcs of Part 1. If you want to ask me personally, wasn't a really good arc aside from Marineford, which is basically a lot of people's favorite arc. Eddie's Lobby is well beloved. Impel Down basically has a lot of reception. I'd say basically from the second half of the first half of the series. There's no really bad canon story arc per se that I've seen. Not really. Because everything is set up basically. There's a lot of world building. But if you think of the first epic story arc, it's probably Alabasta. Like a good epic story of like freeing people. And of course, Dressrosa and Wano is kind of the same way too. Yep. But Dressrosa has got the reputation, despite the fact Dressrosa, the dub, from what I heard, according to Mike McFarlane, he said this, that he loves Dressrosa. He absolutely loved it. The dub got a lot of positive buzz, basically, for Dressrosa. Punk Counselors, I didn't hear much buzz for that one, but Dressrosa, oh gosh, yes, the reception was very positive. You're probably thinking, was there a positive reception for Zoe or Whole Cake? Not sure. I didn't hear anything anybody negative or bad stuff people say about the dub for Whole Cake. I'm sure basically Microphone had to do overtime to cast all these freaking characters. Because, like, it's just as big as Dressrosa. It may not be as long as Dressrosa. Well, at the time, prior to this very arc, it was the second longest arc of the whole series. He probably cast a lot of people. Of course, he's bringing back people who have not been seen in a while, like Big Mom and Jean Bay, which of course is also meant to Jean Bay, which he's going to come back. Don't worry about that. But yeah, not much else to say this arc. It is really good. So far, anyways. That's episode of you. Now, overall, for Dub Likely, just released today up to episode 1000. I have exactly a whopping 36 episodes left to go. So, like I mentioned, the plan is to go to the next 12, and then we'll stop there. So I'm going to lower down from 36 to 24, and when I get back during my break from 5 Man, I'll come back to watch this series while doing another anime we'll discuss later. So, next comes the Comic Corner, and it's right back to One Piece. Okay, next video. Bye.